Alright, let's get it out of the way. Yes, fighting games are hard, but not for the reasons people usually levy against them. Motion inputs aren't the problem, tutorials aren't the problem, hell, even lack of single player content isn't the problem here. The problem is your approach, your willingness to find answers, to figure things out. The answers are out there, you just don't want to find them. You want to win with as little effort as possible. And what's that going to get you? Losing and never knowing why. So let's go over what actually makes a fighting game hard, how you should be approaching a fighting game, and things you can do to get better, and the one thing that's actually the hardest part, your opponent. Fighting games are in a unique genre of their own. You can't immediately understand the strategy you need to employ. The concept is simple. Hit the other guy till his life bar is 0. Similar to an action game. But unlike a single player action game, the opponent isn't going to just sit there and let you freely walk up to them and punch them in the face. The PvP nature of a fighting game immediately makes this more dynamic and interactive. People will commonly say that fighting games are hard because the inputs take time to learn and because the tutorials are bad. But let's take a second and notice your approach here. You're starting a new game and expect it to give you all the answers? What, you expect an entire user manual built into the game? Answer me this. Why don't people take that approach when learning other kinds of games? You ever hear anyone ask why Fortnite doesn't teach you the fastest way to drop onto a map? Or why Hearthstone doesn't just list all the card combos available? Or why Marvel Rivals doesn't teach you how to animation cancel for combos? In any game, there are things you need to learn and discover, and in the modern era, you can just look it up. Look up a YouTube video, watch a stream, or read someone's post. You should be approaching a fighting game with an open mind, a beginner's mind, open to learning and figuring out what to do. But many people don't do that. They jump in and just want to win. This happens in those other games too, to be fair. But here with fighting games, because it's a 1v1 game, there are aspects you can control and things you can't control. So let's start with what you can control, which is actually the easiest part of any fighting game. Motion inputs, combos, character strategies, knowledge checks, these are not a problem. Some think they are, but they're not. And that's because these things are completely in your control to learn. You can practice your inputs, either in training mode, arcade, or even during a match. Same thing with combos, it's just a matter of practice. It's not like the buttons change every match. These things are completely in your control to learn. Of course, you're not going to be able to do it immediately, but you can learn it without question. So stop trying to skip the learning just to win. You have to learn so you can win. Even things like character strategies and knowledge checks, it's literally a Google search away. Just look it up. But why didn't the game tell me how to get out of Elfelt's Rekka? What, you expect the game to have a 50-hour tutorial to go through every situation you find yourself in? Expect to memorize every option and know exactly what to do the first time you play online? That game would suck, straight up. You should be accepting from the beginning that you're going to run into things you don't know and you will need to research or practice the solution. You do this in other games, why not here? That should actually be part of the fun of fighting games, enjoying your own improvement. The actual hard part of a fighting game is the thing you can't control, your opponent. Because you're playing against another real-life human, they will do things, know things, or just simply be equally as confused as you are, and you can't perfectly know what their next move is. Best you can do is learn your options so you're ready to adapt. Your opponent doesn't even have to be good for you to lose. Everyone's had that match that you've lost and you're just dumbfounded at how whack the other person plays. And the only reason they beat you was because they did a bunch of weird, nonsensical stuff that caught you by surprise. But that's the whole point. That's what makes fighting games hard. The fact that you can't know exactly what your opponent will do. That's why neutral's hard. You think they're going to jump and they slide in low. You throw a projectile and they air dash right over it. This is the dynamic aspects of fighting games that makes them engaging. This happens in the shooters too. Yeah, you could sit there and shoot bots in Call of Duty all day, but it's nothing to an actual PvP match. Why? Because playing against other people is so much more dynamic. You are challenged to play smarter or faster or more tactically. Fighting games are the exact same. The opponent has various options to use against you, making the match interesting. After you lose a match, you have to ask yourself why. Why did you lose? What could you have done differently? Were you playing too predictably, or were maybe using the wrong setup? Questioning your own decisions is the hard part of fighting games. It's learnable, you can learn to make better decisions, but you'll never be flawless. The problem is you expect yourself to be flawless. You expect to play every match and come out on top. That's not the right mindset. You start a match and you should have that beginner's mind, open to the possibilities, looking to execute your plan and learn from your opponent. And that's the real cornerstone here. What is adaptation but learning? You learn what to do and what not to do based on your experience. And when you learn your opponent, download their source code, it's over. You got them in the bag, you win. You should never look at learning as a point of difficulty. It's a natural part of starting something new. I don't know why people seem to forget that. Like anything new, there will be things you weren't expecting or things you didn't know you needed to learn. And what do? Go out and learn them. Fix that mindset. Have a beginner's mind, because as a casual, we're always beginners.